All right. Well, I hope everybody's doing well and back at work and busy. We like busy at the chamber, and we like our partners to be busy. And there's a lot going on. And so we're delighted you took a little bit of time to be with us today, and you're going to hear a whole slate of things going on. So I'll wrap up about the chamber a little bit later, but let's go ahead because we got such, well, far more interesting people on the panel. How about we start with Suzanne Edwards, our beloved consultant, lobbyist, whatever you want to call it, know everything going on in DC. Suzanne, how about we turn it over to you for an update on what's happening in DC?
Good morning, everybody. Let me share my screen here. I know, let's keep it consultant because I know the word lobbyist is not everybody's favorite around here. So it's been a few months since we had a chance to give you an update on what's going on in Washington. And so I wanted to take a few minutes today. I think last time we met, we did a reset on the Biden administration, what we thought the budget might look like. And here we are about 3 months later, and we still don't have a budget. So we can talk about that today and the timing of it and what it looks like the process is going to look like for the rest of the year. And then I want to touch a little bit on BRAC at the end, because I know it's something that's always on the mind of the Midlands community. So as we expected, the president released a skinny budget that set the baseline budget for DoD at $715 billion for fiscal year 22, which starts on October 1st of this year. The budget continues to be delayed. It's typically delivered the first week of February. We do not have it yet. It was supposed to be delivered yesterday. We do not have it yet. We expect, we're now hearing, as of yesterday, we heard that it's going to be here Friday. But for those of you who are budget geeks, especially those out at the base, we may not see justification books or J books and come over until late June, which is going to have an effect on the appropriations and authorization process. A breaking news alert is I did talk to somebody at the Army, and they do believe that the Army, MilCon, and SRM J books will be available. So that'll give us a sense of where we are resetting going into this legislative year. The budget itself is a 1% increase over fiscal year 21. I know that there had been some concern that we'd see a hollowing out of the defense budget immediately. We don't expect that's going to be the case. We're actually exceeding projections on where we thought the budget would be. But it's important to remember that this is just President Biden's budget request. It is now going to be turned over to Congress to do the authorization and appropriations process. When we finally see the full budget, we're expecting we might see a reduction in some legacy accounts as the DoD attempts to shift money to President Biden's modernization efforts and some of his RDT&E accounts. We also are cautiously optimistic. Don't take my word for this or print it in the state paper, but that Fort Jackson will have a project funded in the president's budget, a military construction project. Considering that we're hearing the Army MilCon budget is significantly smaller this year, it's a really big accomplishment for the base and for our base leadership and for our congressional delegation, who has kept a constant drumbeat on making sure this happens. Did the next slide come up? Sorry, I'm frozen a little. Okay, so no more popular than lobbyists is the word earmark. You may have heard that the House of Representatives is bringing back earmarks in a small way, and that is for public entities and not for profits. House Republicans have voted to participate in the earmark process, but some members have vowed not to participate. 2 members of the South Carolina delegation have signed the letter to Nancy Pelosi vowing not to ask for requests. If you're curious what your member requested, the House deadlines have passed. All community project funding requests are up on websites. They're required to be fully disclosed. So you may want to poke around on some of those member websites, or I'm happy to put some of those links in the chat if you're interested. The Senate is also bringing back earmarks. And last week, Senate Appropriations Chairman Pat Leahy issued guidance. They are using the phrase congressionally directed spending items. Republican caucus voted not to engage in earmarks, but it's a non-binding vote. And we are seeing some members of Congress and Republican senators take project requests right now, but their deadlines are a little bit later into June and July, which is unusual because of the budget delay. And I just want to remind everybody, don't get hung up on community project funding as an indicator of what kind of federal money is coming to South Carolina. The delegation has and will continue to plus up accounts, engage in targeted requests as they've done for the last decade when, quote, earmarks went away. So what is a budget delay doing? The NDAA process has been delayed due to the budget delay. The HASC, which is the House Armed Services Committee, is still planning to mark up the bill in June or July, but Chairman Smith has acknowledged the full House won't consider the bill until September. He doesn't want to leave the bill open over August recess. SASC, the Senate Armed Services Committee, recently delayed their markup till July 21st. If SASC adheres to that schedule, the Senate will likely not see any floor time before September, meaning we're pushed into the next fiscal year. That means we are looking at a continuing resolution. And I know that that's not a surprise to base stakeholders, but it's something that we should plan towards because it's likely not to be a short-term one. It might be significant into several weeks or months. Our delegation is highly engaged. They're working key priorities from everything from F-35 to other issues, other cyber issues, et cetera. And I look forward to hearing their updates as well. I'm going to send this out in the leave behind that Susan will follow up with after this meeting, but we are starting to slowly see DoD officials being confirmed. I just wanted to flag on this page, Secretary Wormuth, or Secretary nominee Christine Wormuth, the Secretary of the Army, was approved out of committee finally today. Her hearing was on May 13th. So we expect that she'll be able to pass the floor. But here are some of the other nominees that have come up. And you can see this as we follow on. I just want to flag on the second page, we do have an assistant at a role that is critical for us working in the base community are the assistant secretaries of the services for energy installations and environment. The Secretary of the Navy for this position has been nominated, Meredith Berger. She is a return from the Obama administration. And we are hearing that her equivalent secretaries for the Air Force and Army should be named in the next 2 weeks. And we will let you know when that happens. Everybody's favorite topic, what about BRAC? Bottom line up front, we still believe a new BRAC or BRAC-like authority is likely to be authorized in this Congress, which is this year and next year. President Biden has previously stated he's supportive of a new BRAC round. Senate Armed Services Committee Chair Jack Reed has publicly stated that he is in favor of a new BRAC round or using BRAC-like authorities to help modernize installation base. And he has previously supported other legislation to authorize new BRAC rounds. House Armed Services Committee Chairman Adam Smith has publicly said he supports a BRAC and has previously supported legislation to authorize a new BRAC round. Just a couple weeks ago, and this is in bold, House Defense Appropriations Chairwoman Betty McCollum in a hearing flagged that Congress has failed to authorize a BRAC has led to deteriorating facilities and challenges in the installation environment. This is the first time we've heard from her on that. In his confirmation hearings, Secretary of Defense Austin was asked about BRAC, and he acknowledged he will use BRAC and other existing authorities to consider as we shape what installations look like in the future. And the main opponent of BRAC, Senator Jim Inhofe in the Senate, is now in the minority, so he has less juice on holding off on BRAC. So what does that mean we need to do? And you've seen this slide before, but it's this, we call this our BRAC toolkit. If any stakeholder wants to print it and put it up on their wall, is just some things that we need to be doing as base community to make sure that we're doing everything we can to enhance Fort Jackson and our other missions in the Midlands. We already have a great support of the community, but there are things we need to do to make sure that we always keep our eye on the ball. Some of those things are making sure that we are improving our installation, continuing to modernize it. The Army has invested, I think we're at well over $1 billion in Fort Jackson in the last 20 years. That's a big deal. They're invested in it, and we need to make their investment worthwhile. One final thing I want to flag is we are hearing that there's going to be significant funding in resiliency. There was an executive order released yesterday talking about what not just climate resilience looked like when it comes to disaster mitigation, but also looking at resilience through the framework of military installations, coastal lands, FEMA, et cetera. Resilience in the installations world and for the Army specifically, we are hearing there's going to be a significant plus up in the ERSIP program, Energy Resiliency and Installation Community Program. I believe that's what it's for. Maybe somebody from the base can flesh that out more, but that is an existing program that is used to make sure that our bases are resilient, have the best energy infrastructure, and are able to respond quickly to any climate threat that may happen or any extreme weather. So that's just some of the top line things going on. I'm always happy to answer questions in the chat or offline. So I will turn it back over to you, Carl.
Suzanne, thank you very much. I'd love to be able to one time get to a Zoom without leaving my darn mute button on, so I apologize for that. Couple of housekeeping things that I failed. I talked to the panel, but I didn't tell everybody else. But just let everybody know we are recording this, so it'll be posted on the. So if you missed something, we'll post it on our website later on this afternoon. So just keep that aware. Want to make sure everybody knows they're recorded. Secondly, want to thank all our veterans that are on today, and thank you for your service. Most importantly, and also the active duty folks, thank you. It's also Small Business Month this month, the whole month of May. So we are excited to promote small business within our region. So think local, save local. We appreciate all the businesses, but the Small Business Month means more this year than it has. So thanks to all our small businesses that are on here as well. All right, and all this stuff that we're hearing, the speakers are actually sending notes, and we'll send those notes to everybody after the meeting as well. So, all right, let's get back at it. So Suzanne, thanks for the big update, and I'll get back with you on some of those acronyms because I don't know what the heck you were talking about, but whatever. Thank you very much for what you do. Let's jump into the congressional reports. William Smith with Senator Graham's office. Thank you for being with us. You got an update for us?
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all having me. And Senator Graham says his greetings. We're still waiting on the president's budget to come out. Like Susan said, we're concerned about the top line for defense that's in it. It's a very small increase compared to last year for non-defense spending. And there's trillions of dollars being spent on other things, but it doesn't seem like defense is a priority. So Senator Graham believes that national defense should be a priority for the budget for sure. And that's all I have right now.
All right, William, thanks so much. Hey, Jack. Jack's with us with Senator Scott's office.
I believe you're talking about me, but John here.
John, sorry. I got Jack. I apologize.
Not a problem. I was like, Jack, do I know a Jack? Not cool. So from Senator Scott's office, again, my name is John. I do handle the military side of things for our office. And yeah, just to piggyback off what William said, we're planning on working closely with committee to try and, see more specifics on the NDAA, working out those appropriations and everything like that. We also been doing a little bit of work with trying to see like how things are going on for the VA Mission Act with the Veteran Affairs Committee to make sure that they're continuing to, have those things being enacted as they were being carried out. So it's been pretty good working with them. But other than that, like we're just looking out for like you said, like the NDAA, and that's pretty much an update from our office.
All right, interesting times in DC, no doubt about it. Larry Ward, thank you for joining us today in Congressman Clyburn's office. Hey, neighbor. Oh, you're on mute. Yep. He muted himself permanently right there. Wrong button, Larry. Just kidding. He'll jump back on us in just a second. We'll get to him. Alex Morris with Congressman Wilson.
Yeah, good afternoon. Again, Alex Morris, happy to be here representing Congressman Joe Wilson. As kind of an update, a little preview, on Friday, we will be dropping legislation, the Reducing Barriers for Military Voters Act. Since 2014, we've seen military ballots get rejected at 3 times the rate of the general population. About half of those are because they arrived too late. So we're working on establishing an electronic system through which deployed CONUS and OCONUS military service members will be able to vote. And that'll be available for the states to opt in according to their own wishes and regulations. On top of that, we are tracking pit production, the 2-site solution for producing our nation's plutonium pits and maintaining our nuclear deterrent. We're advocating for that at Savannah River site. Currently, there's only 1 site at Los Alamos. Some of that funding has already been established, and we are just working on shepherding that through. As always, we are advocating for the F-35 at McEntire, and Colonel Gandhi and General Jones and General McCarty keep us very well educated on where we need to be and what we need to do for that. Apart from that, Suzanne always does such a great job. She covers about half of what we have prepared, but still waiting on the president's budget, and NDAA markup and HASC will be probably delayed because of that, and the full committee vote as well, but we are tracking that, and that's really all I have.
Hey, thank you, Alex. Appreciate you being with us. Hey, Larry Ward,
I'm back.
thank you for rejoining us.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure.
How's everything in Congressman Clyburn's office? You got any update?
It's busy. It's very busy. But no, the NDAA has been pushed back. There's no actual date for that right now. And also, the Congress is advocating for the F-35. I want everybody to know that also. And of course, the appropriation meetings will be sometime in June. So that's about what we have today.
Okay, thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, well, good, concise update from everybody's on the same page from the congressional delegation. So thank y'all, and thank you to your bosses for their support of our local bases and our military personnel here in the Midlands of South Carolina. So thank y'all for being with us. Let's move on to our military organization updates. We got Colonel Mike Larson, Deputy Commanding Officer at Fort Jackson. Larson, how you doing today?
Hey, Carl, good to see you. Good afternoon, and good afternoon, everybody out in the Zoom environment. Quick update here from Fort Jackson. You know, we're in our last couple of weeks with Brigadier General Beagle, and it's going to be tough, very tough for us to see him go. And I think for the overall state, tough to lose a great American like him. But like the Army always does, we have great leaders to come in and fill in the gaps, and Brigadier General Michaelis will do just that. So a couple quick updates here, and I'll open up the floor to any questions too. I'll talk about COVID a little bit, graduations as we're trying to get back to a sense of normalcy, and some leadership changes, and some quick community updates that might be relevant to local community. First off, vaccination and COVID related topics. We are now an unrestricted post. We have just updated our mask policy today to where, coming on the installation now, if you are vaccinated, you do not have to wear your mask. If you are not vaccinated, then you do. So we'll release our General Order number 4 and highlight all of that, and make sure we publish that on all of our social media realms as well. We've probably have about just under 60% of all of our active duty personnel vaccinated on the installation as well. And the clinic here in Moncrief has been exceptional in their support of that. Just under 10,000 second doses of the vaccine. Coming up too, we're going to start doing the trainees and on a voluntary basis, and just did them actually this past week, and that'll be a norm. We think that's going to get us back to this close to us, 76%, 80% herd immunity metric is what we're looking for. We think we're going to get there in early July, and then what that does is start to really get us back to the families. Allowing the non-sterile transportation. Will stop the charter buses and open back up, each individual ability to drive with their families when they go off to their AIT or commute, using Carlson Wagonlit to purchase their own ticket. So it's really going to start getting us back to normalcy. But us getting back to Family Day and having those 5,000 family members back in the local community on a, Wednesday, Thursday evening, using the restaurants and the hotels local, that's going to be a CIMT, our higher headquarters decision, because that's going to impact all the other installations that do basic combat training and AIT, because it all needs to kind of synchronize together for that decision. So we're getting there. And I don't have a firm date for Family Days and back to 5,000 family members on post, but we're getting there. Did our 5th graduation with families last week. 750 family members attended. That's a good news story, and we're slowly creeping up to the 1,000 family member mark, and understand how important that 5,000 roughly family member mark is. To date, we've graduated just above 13,000 new soldiers from basic combat training, and currently we've got about 4,700 that are in training right now. Next graduation for us will be on the 3rd of June. We won't have one this week. And that'll be our 6th one with families. And changes of command coming up. like I said, the commanding general is rotating out on the 18th of June at 0900 hours on Hilton Field. And then our garrison commander will also rotate. Colonel Wes Hakins will switch out with a Colonel Ryan Hansen, and that'll be on 15 June at 1100. And then one of our brigades is switching out, Colonel Eric Flesch, on the 29th of June, one of the basic combat training brigades at 09. And his replacement is a Special Forces officer, Colonel Kent Solheim. And kind of interestingly, he's a below the knee amputee. And I think if you look him up, you'll probably see some interesting stories on him, but has a great reputation, and we're looking forward to getting him here to join the team. Let's see, a couple community stuff. Our last day of school on post is 9 June. Also, to the graduation points, we're still going to continue that live streaming piece, which sometimes is almost like when you're watching a football game, is better because you get more close-ups and the videos rolling through the crowds. You get close-ups and replays if required. And then, of course, our Army birthday is on June 14th. We'll turn 246 years old. And preceding that day, we're going to do a thing called Army Heritage Week. And it's a new thing that the Army started doing in terms of celebrating our birthday and making a week-long celebration. With that, I can also thanks to Suzanne for that update in terms of the MilCon piece. Very excited about that. Our top 3 priorities for MilCon has not changed. And yours was a good news story to hear. And I acknowledge nothing's set until you see the budget, but that's good to hear that it's looking good. So with that, Carl, any questions?
And sir, I will say, full disclosure, it has been in and out. And last I've heard is it's back in. So we will see. We will see on Friday, hopefully.
Okay.
But no doubt we'll keep you posted, Larson, on that.
Great.
All right, great update. And again, we're going to be sad to see Biggs leave, but looking forward to the new leadership, and we wish Biggs and Pam much success at Fort Drum. Let's jump into the National Guard, and we have Brigadier General Jeff Jones, the Deputy AG, joining us. General, thank you for joining us today. I'll turn it over to you. I think General was having some video problems.
He's on mute in case he doesn't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, General, if you can hear us, you're on mute. All right, I'll tell you what.
Hey, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that. Hey, I apologize, Carl, and everyone. I'm working in the dark right now, and for those who know me, that's probably a day like every other. So I apologize on that. But anyway, hope everyone's well. Everything over here at the South Carolina Military Department is good. This is a big time of year for us. First, we are waiting anxiously and confidently on the disposition of the state budget for the coming year. We feel good about our priorities and the support that we're receiving from the State House. As I said, it's a busy time of year. We continue to have over 700 citizen soldiers performing COVID response operations well over a year now. And like all of our other partner agencies, we are preparing for hurricane season. We're anticipating a busy season, but we'll be ready. We also are about to deploy our Air Defense Artillery Brigade in South Carolina to the National Capital Region, where they perform air defense of the entire NCR. That is an enduring mission pretty much since 9/11. And they will be heading that way here within the week. We continue to have over 300 great Air Guardsmen who are deployed, and we are entering the season where many of our ground elements begin their external exercises, what we call as CTC rotations to our combat training centers. Our light infantry battalion is preparing to leave at this time. I will not steal Jennifer's thunder, but this is an exciting time of year that ESGR recognizes our employers for all that they do to support our guardsmen. And again, I'll leave that to Jennifer just to say that I can't thank her enough. We can't thank her enough for everything that she does and ESGR does to partner with us and enable us really to do our job. An important initiative we're looking at right now as we anticipate COVID operations ending, we will have a good number of guardsmen who we anticipate will be looking for new employment. And we're partnering with the Columbia Chamber, the Governor's Office, Veteran Affairs, and other agencies to discuss these soldiers will be entering what we call 502F, which is a classification of orders, and helping them with jobs through Operation Palmetto Employment. That committee met this morning, and efforts are being made to host a robust in-person job fair on Thursday, June 24th, as well as a virtual job fair the day before on June 23rd. We anticipate the venue being the South Carolina State Fairgrounds, with a backup at the Bluff Road Armory here on Bluff Road at the TAG complex. Yellow ribbon events also going to be held during this time. And it'll be not only though for 502F soldiers, but opening up to veterans and any soldiers that will be searching for employment. And there'll be plans to have another in-person hiring event on Thursday, October 12th, hopefully at the fairgrounds. So all of our partners from the Governor's Office all the way down again through the Chamber and others have really expressed their interest to be involved with this and support us. And we really can't thank you enough. So on behalf of General McCarty, that concludes my update. And again, hope everybody's doing well.
Hey, Jeff, you were talking about so many getting ready to leave active duty. One of the things that the state government's taken a much stronger approach to hiring veterans. What we've done at the Department of Motor Vehicles is any of your soldiers that are leaving, or airmen, their family members or vets in general that apply and have applied for a job will get a courtesy interview, which is, when you're getting hundreds of applications, gives them a shot now from 1 in 100 to 1 in 4.
Yes, sir. And we appreciate that. And you certainly understand when someone transitions from performing a job military into the civilian environment, the skills that they bring, and we promise that these guardsmen will come as a real asset to any organization they join. So we appreciate that, sir.
Yeah, that was very greedy. It was not altruistic in nature.
I figured that out, sir.
Hey, General, thank you so much. And I'll tell you, I got to witness firsthand. I got to see the folks up in DC and the air defense crew and their work and the mission they have. It's unbelievably important and stressful for those guys. So we wish them well as they rotate up, and we'll be thinking about them. So thank you for your service, and thank you to the men and women of the National Guard. Let's turn it over to, we got Colonel Gandhi with out at McIntyre in the 169th. Abu, you around?
Yes, sir. Hey, Carl, how are you doing? Good. I don't know why our camera's not pointing in the right direction, but we'll get that figured out here.
It's all good. We can hear you. So that's the good part.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so first off, we'd like to extend our congratulations for Team McIntyre to the to General Beagle for his next command. And tell you what, the folks up at 10th Mountain are getting a great one up there. So our aviation package is deployed overseas. They're at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia, executing combat missions on a daily basis, doing some great work out there. We're making a continue our push for the F-35 McIntyre. It looks like there will be some future basing decisions. Those appear to have been delayed a little bit, but we're still working that. And cannot thank our South Carolina congressional delegations for their immense support. So unanimous support from all the CODELs, and we really appreciate that. And we'll be continuing to partner with you as we move forward through this process, because it's not only a win for McIntyre, it's a win for the United States Air Force and the overall joint force to put F-35s here at McIntyre. We're getting ready for hurricane season. It is that time of year again. The base, as most folks know, is a primary air response base for anything should something have a significant impact on South Carolina. But the airmen and soldiers here at McIntyre will be ready for that. We've had a lot of things going on at the base, even despite of COVID. We've been operating pretty close to 100% operations. Of recent, some things that are not normal on the installation. We hosted the 628th Air Base Wing. That's the Air Base Wing down at Charleston Air Force Base up here at McIntyre for doing a operational readiness inspection. So the Air Mobility Command Inspector General was looking at how well that they could set up their forward operating locations, and they used McIntyre as one of those. We had a large participation by our airmen in the 2021 Women's Air and Space Symposium, which was a pretty neat event and kind of broadening horizons for everybody. It's great stuff there. Our Civil Engineering Squadron just returned from a deployment for training to help build a camp for veterans out in Mississippi. And we hosted the Joint Force out here doing expedient airfield damage repair. And what's happening is in the era of great power competition, where our air bases and air superiority is coming at risk from peer adversaries, we're learning how to better recover should our facilities come under attack. Well, phase one was conducted in April, and some very, very great successes out of that. There'll be a second phase in August, a little bit later this year, so they're coming back down. McIntyre, they looked at about 200 different Department of Defense installations of where to conduct this exercise. And we came out on top of that, and they've been very pleased with the support we've been able to provide them. So it's not just what goes on base steady state, it's what else the base brings to the entire Joint Force and to the state. Some of you are familiar that South Carolina State Partners, the Republic of Columbia, they are looking at purchasing F-16s, and we hosted them here and along with our partners over at Shaw to help them start developing and being smart about the infrastructure requirements to bed down a new capability. And one of the things to understand is a great partnership we have with the Republic of Columbia, and they are the United States' key strategic ally in the South American region of operations. We hosted the Richland County Military Stakeholders Meeting. This was bringing folks in from McIntyre, Fort Jackson, and McCready. And what we're trying to do here is work with the Richland County to develop the updated comprehensive land use plan. We were thrilled to host the Chamber of Commerce Leadership Columbia class here on base, and I think they had a fantastic visit. It was great to see those folks come out here, some future leaders in the area, and some great questions out of the folks, and we were happy to show them what goes on at the base. Coming up in the near-term future, we'll be supporting the Indo-Pacific Command during a large exercise called Pacific Century 2021. We'll have airmen out in Australia and out on Hawaii conducting those exercises. We have a Boy Scout camporee coming out onto the installation. It's great to have visitors back on the base as we get back to more normal conditions, and we look forward to more of that. And we're getting ready to send our medical group and Force Support Squadron out to an exercise called Healthy Delta, and that's in the Midwest. We'll be hosting the U.S. Virgin Islands Air National Guard over here as they do some deployment for training here and there. And then the 263rd Army Air and Missile Defense Command will be setting up some operations over here for an exercise and staging out of here as they proceed to an exercise up in Canada. And then we'll close out the year with a bunch of airmen from the medical group headed down to the Republic of Columbia for an exercise called Angel of the Andes. And what this is a humanitarian assistance disaster response exercise, and that'll take place in September. With that, that's our report from McIntyre, and I'd be happy to field any questions anybody may have.
Colonel, thank you so much, and thanks to all your troops out there. And listen, I am absolutely willing to help lead a community effort to oversee what's going on in Hawaii if you need me. So just let me know how I can assist. would love to be there. Anyway, and thanks to, I failed to mention this, and Susan actually put this on the notes, but we really appreciate y'all hosting Leadership Columbia. Colonel Larson, the folks, Fort Jackson were very open as well, and great reviews from the folks in the Leadership Columbia program. They had a great time experiencing what y'all see every single day. So thanks very much for your report as well. But I was serious about the Hawaii thing. Anyway, let's move into military support organizations. And Joe McLam, Chief of Staff for the South Carolina Department of Veteran Affairs. Colonel, good to see you.
Good to see you, sir. Am I broadcasting?
You are.
Fantastic. Well, I'll just take a couple of minutes and cover a handful of items here. Really, most of what I'm going to highlight are things that partner organizations have done with us over the last couple of months that have been very, very helpful. I'll start with the South Carolina Chamber of Commerce. They were able to pull together a couple of webinars for veterans, sponsored with additional partners. So on the 15th of April, they did a webinar on creating a business plan for veterans trying to start their own businesses. They did that in conjunction with the Small Business Administration. And then on the 22nd of April, Bank of America, one of the chamber sponsors, as I saw in the video when we got started here, helped us put together a financial planning workshop for veterans. And both those well attended by veterans and very useful for the veteran community. So thanks to all those who participated in that. If you don't know, there is a statewide state government veteran hiring preference that was just came into effect back in January of this year. And on the 4th of May, the state government had a state government-wide veteran virtual career fair in which 333 South Carolina veterans participated. We've got a lot of very positive indicators on the numbers of that. What I don't have for you yet is how many veterans were actually hired. That's still lagging a bit. Once we have that data, we'll pass it on. But 333 veterans in one job fair is pretty amazing. And hats off to the Department of Administration here in the South Carolina government putting that together and making that work. Closer to home, most of you are aware that in the fall, the military base commanders do a briefing to the governor, and our military base task force kind of manages that and sets that up. We've supplemented that now with a spring luncheon, which covers many of the same topics, but is more of a making sausage meeting where we allow the commanders in a room with just the secretary, no media, nobody from the state government outside of the Department of Veterans Affairs, to allow us to hear kind of a little more bluntly from the post commanders what they're seeing, and then allow us to set the conditions so that when they talk to the governor in the fall, we can already have some of the solutions to their issues ready to go, and we can see some progress in that. We held our first one of those on the 6th of May, seemed to go very well. We're pretty excited about it. And then lastly, we were able to help get the governor down to Fort Gordon very recently, 14th of May. And the purpose of that meeting was to let the governor see the many, many opportunities that exist associated with cyber, having the DoD Cyber Center just across the state line. And frankly, it was also to demonstrate to him that there's another state on the other side of that state line, and they're a little bit ahead of us on bringing some of the, taking advantage of some of these opportunities. So we know the governor's office is working through a number of initiatives now based off that visit. The details of those not ready to roll out, but we think we're going to see some good movement on that field as well. If you don't know, and I won't go into any detail except to say there's a number of great opportunities for the state of South Carolina. Very easy, I think, for us to capitalize on those. In terms of future events, our very own Candace Terry, who's our Legislative Affairs Director, will be hosting a seminar this Thursday night, 27th of May, called Post-Traumatic Growth, Changing the Narrative. That will be at 1800 or 6 o'clock for the civilians. If I have any Marines, Mickey's big hand will be on the 12th, his little hand will be on the 6th. And that'll be at the Pastides Alumni Center. You need to register for that if you want to attend. You've heard the Secretary talk many, many times about the idea that when people think veteran in South Carolina, what we want them to think of is someone who successfully completed service to their nation and is now a contributing member to their community. And that's the vast majority of veterans that are out there. And this is what post-traumatic growth is about. It's about enduring hardship and coming out of it stronger instead of damaged permanently. There's a panel that will be involved in that. The Secretary will sit on that panel. And of course, that's exciting to us. But maybe even more exciting to us is that Dr. Richard Tedeschi, who most people will tell you is the father of American post-traumatic growth thought will also be on that panel. So very distinguished panel. There's still seats available, but it would recommend anyone register that's interested in those topics. Secondly, on the 8th of June, we'll be hosting our first, but will probably not be our last, annual Women Veteran Innovation Summit. This will be a professionally facilitated event. The invitations are out, and if you need one, please give me a call. I'll be glad to get you a link to that. And the purpose of this seminar is to help us identify what goals the department should adopt reference to our women veterans in South Carolina. This is a growing part of the South Carolina veteran population, and it's only going to get bigger in the years ahead. And at least our initial assessment is we may not be very well aligned with the needs of that particular subgroup of our veterans. And we came to the Secretary's insight was, well, maybe we should ask women veterans what they need, which I think is a pretty insightful idea. So that'll be on the 8th of June. And then lastly, Brigadier Jones already mentioned it, but on the 23rd of June, we'll be doing a virtual veterans job fair. That's being hosted by the South Carolina Manufacturers Alliance. That happened to already be pre-established. And then when we talked to the National Guard today, and they said they were going to do a in-person one on the 24th, it was pretty easy to link those two together. So we're going to open that virtual job fair on the 23rd rather. Part of the target audience for that will be the South Carolina National Guard folks coming off the COVID mission. So pretty exciting times in that way. Two opportunities just draw your attention to. One is it looks like we're kind of cautiously optimistic about our budget as well as the National Guard is. If that happens, we would see a considerable amount of growth in terms of the personnel that the department employs. And so I may be reaching out to some of you and asking you if you know where qualified, quality people who are committed and interested in Veterans Affairs might be looking to land, because we're going to have some pretty interesting jobs, I think, open up if the budget comes through. And lastly, just for everybody's situational awareness, there is a bill in the Senate at the state level that would reorganize DHEC. And one of the subcomponents of that bill would move responsibility for the 4 veteran nursing homes that currently exist in South Carolina from the Department of Mental Health, where they've always been previously, to the Department of Veterans Affairs. And so a couple of notes for everybody, in case anybody asks you about it. One, we're not advocating for that move. If we get told to do it, we'll do it, of course. And we're all military folks over here. So we'll do what we're told to do. But we're not asking anybody to move those veteran homes over to us. Our assessment is that the veterans are well served by the veterans homes as they're currently adjudicated. We also recognize that we don't have a lot of expertise in that area. So we are currently in some fairly detailed staff work with the Department of Mental Health to figure out what we would need if we do pick up responsibilities for those. And we will be prepared to do that. If that's what the state of South Carolina decides to do, we're doing the homework now to be ready to do that. But I would end by close with what I started with, which is we're not advocating for that, but we'll be prepared if we get told to do it. That's all I have, sir.
Great. Thank you very much, Colonel. Appreciate that. Mr. Schwedo is our civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army, our CASA. I'll turn it over to you for a few minutes.
That sounds good. The interesting thing right now is the first discussion we already had was on the Secretary of the Army. She has been nominated. First I've heard, in fact, that it made it out of committee. The only reason I bring that one on up is that there were individuals that were trying to hold it on up based upon a pay issue of a Army National Guardsman. So obviously that's been cleared up. I would caution anybody that is even skeptical at all about her capabilities. She is one of the strongest packets to ever come into that position, in spite of the fact she's the first female to be nominated as the Secretary of the Army. She was, under the Obama administration, the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, which is the 3rd most senior position in the entire Department of Defense. She's also been the Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Defense for Homeland Defense and Civil Support, and also served as the Senior Director for Defense Policy on the National Security Council. So she comes with amazing credibility as she walks in. Anybody that thinks that life is going to remain like it is today is in for a rude awakening. I believe she'll walk in and she will have some priorities aligned with the national security policy. the current priorities that are being pushed out by the acting, I'm sure she's probably given them some guidance, are people, readiness, and modernization. And why do I bring that up? That's largely tied to where the Army is likely to spend its budget, assuming it comes through in the amount that it's coming through. Some of the things that are impacting the Army today that will continue to remain a priority. There has been a significant issue with regards to Army housing. The Army is completing a tenant survey that will inform the chain of command as to where they need to go to provide adequate housing for service members and their families. Same thing goes, there is an initiative to go ahead and with the privatization of PCS moves and make it more responsive to the soldiers. Again, the key is they've done another survey and they want to go ahead and ensure that they get the service they need as they move, especially with the amount of moves the average service member goes through over a period of time. The Army specifically has completed its 1 millionth inoculation. They are very clear about trying to immunize the workforce and the soldiers. There are some describing the issue that whether or not they should mandate soldiers take inoculations. And, you know, because you've seen us all line up with both sleeves open and getting hit in both arms. As long as the inoculations remain under an emergency authorization, no commander will be able to mandate mandatory inoculations. As soon as that comes off, they can put it in the same inoculation period they do across the board, which is why Mike was talking about a few minutes ago. It's still being very heavily dependent upon voluntary inoculations. I've heard my friends in the National Guard talk about their commitment to hurricanes. The Army's priorities are too, as we go into a very high risk area for not only hurricanes, but also wildfires. We have on previous occasions launched entire brigades to go ahead and help fight fires. And the Army's commitment to the nation is we'll be there to defend against the forest fires and the hurricanes. And that is the commitment. Just a short thing with regards to the Minuteman scholarships I'm authorized to award. I've been working hard with the National Guard to make those awards. I have given away or awarded every one of them. We're working to go ahead and get more, but we put them in an OML, an order of merit list that has been established by the National Guard. The National Guard gets fewer scholarships than the Army Reserve, which is why we focus on them. So we've made the first 4 awards, and we are trying to go ahead and identify CASAs that will not be using them, but they will be awarded specifically to the order of merit list as it comes out of the Army National Guard. Final thing with regards to BRAC participation, all of the CASAs have been told they cannot be leading with regards to the BRAC process. Some of the CASAs have become lead agents the same way they did with the movement of Space Command and others. We will be able to participate in local conversations, participate in dialogue, but when it goes to informing the Army at large, it can't become an advocate to the organization that it serves. Subject to anybody's questions, that's all I've got.
Thanks, Colonel. I appreciate that update. Appreciate your service in your capacity. Jennifer Harding with ESGR. Greetings.
Good morning. And yes, it is still morning in Las Vegas. So I come to you from beautiful Las Vegas at the Wynn Hotel. Thanks for letting me hop on the call today. So I am the state chair for ESGR, the employer support of the Guard and Reserve. And I am thrilled that DOD has started to lift some of the restrictions on us being able to brief units in person and present Patriot Awards in person, because it's great to have Zoom to do those kind of things, but it's certainly much better to do it in person. So fortunate we were able to present a few Patriot Awards last week to employers that go above and beyond providing support to their reservists across the state. General Jones mentioned it earlier, we awarded almost 20 employers about a month ago in our virtual annual awards presentation, and it was spectacular. It was great to have such great participation on the call. Thanks to those of you that were on the call. I will brag a little bit. We are in the awards timeframe right now, and right now on the desk of the Department of Defense, we have 2 South Carolina employers that are up for the Freedom Award, which is the highest award given by the Department of Defense to an employer. And that is Grand Strand Medical in Myrtle Beach, and also Boyer Commercial Construction right here in Columbia. And we are so excited. So that is pretty big stuff, that out of 15 that will be awarded, we have 2 folks in that group. So I am tickled to death about that, and hope to have some good news that hopefully we win one of those Freedom Awards. But we were able to present the Pro Patria Award last week to Boyer Construction, and another award to Gray TV for their support. So we're always looking for supportive employers. If you know of someone that goes above and beyond to support their reservists who also are weekend warriors, please let me know. You all have my contact information. We're also able now to be in person again with approval for Boss Lift. So I am looking for employers that you think would be good to nominate to hop on Boss Lift with us somewhere across the state. We have one planned October 29th, and we're looking to do a few more around the state, but we'll be looking for participants for the Boss Lift. So please let me know if you have anyone to nominate for those highly sought after spots to see what goes on behind the scenes with our Guard and Reserve. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time. I know you're out gambling away. Just kidding. You're working. I know.
I am working. See, I got my conference badge on and everything.
Just kidding. Just kidding. So have fun. Y'all be careful out there. But thanks to ESGR for all you do. And we're rooting for Boyer Construction. Brian is a great American, retired Ranger, and just solid guy. So thanks for honoring a local business. I'll root for Grand Strand if they get it, but I'm putting my money on Boyer Construction. So, all right, community updates. Let's turn over to Dave. Dave Amira with the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Great, thank you. So, in terms of Department of Veterans Affairs, very excited that we have now gone 14 days without any COVID positive patients in-house, and actually 12 days with no employees that are COVID positive. So that's really great for us. As a matter of fact, across the entire VA, there's only 174 COVID positive inpatients across the nation. So that's a big deal considering the size of the entire VA. The good news is that we're continuing to vaccinate aggressively. 42,500 people have been vaccinated by the VA and partners with us that tie into veterans. So that's exciting. We also are following the Save Lives Act. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with this, but this is an act where we can actually vaccinate the spouses of veterans, their dependents, and that's 12 and older with the Pfizer vaccine, as well as their caregivers. So if anyone knows of a veteran that is married, has kids, caregiver, please send them our way so we can take care of them quickly. We're offering all 3 vaccines, so that makes it easy as well. In terms of getting back on track post-COVID, we're there. We're actually expected to hit 1.1 million outpatient visits this year. So things have ramped up again quickly for us. We're still maintaining the same precautions as the past. You have to wear a mask when you come into our facility. We want to continue to do that just to continue to keep COVID out of our hospital, but really happy to see our growth is there again. In terms of some new buildings, we have the Orangeburg Community Outpatient Clinic. We'll be moving into that in 3 months. So we're excited about that. That clinic will increase in size from 7,000 square feet to over 22,000 square feet. And that'll be followed by the Rock Hill, Sumter, and Florence CBOC, which will all approved to break ground in the next 6 to 8 months. So that's exciting. We'll be moving into our new inpatient mental health unit in the next 3 months. That's a 22-bed unit here on campus, as well as our new OR surgical suite. So those are some new things here that are exciting. And lastly, the Fisher House, the board is continuing to do a great job. I know I'm surrounded by several people virtually that are part of our board. Plus, I'm surrounded by some people that are not part of the board that are still doing wonderful work on behalf of veterans. So all I can tell you all is, if you know anyone that wants to open up their pocketbook or their wallet to donate to a great cause, the Fisher House is a wonderful cause. We need to raise $3.5 million, and we've got a little ways to go still. So if anyone knows of any potential resources, please send them the way of the Kevin Schwados and Dan Hennigan's and all the other people on the call, so we can make sure we're in good shape. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for the good update. Appreciate what you're doing. Jared Evans, University of South Carolina. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Carl, I'm good. Hope you are as well. Good afternoon, everybody. I've got a couple of really quick updates for the group. Carolina Online, which is a brand new online platform, has launched and is live. And we actually learned yesterday, we got our first soldier out of Fort Bragg who was accepted and enrolled for the fall. And so that's something we're really excited about, especially within the military community, because regardless of where your service may take you, you can earn a degree from USC completely online from start to finish. And we set our military tuition rate at $250 per credit hour, and something we took it a step further and included veterans in that. So if there's any veterans, regardless of where they are in the country or around the globe, who want to earn a degree from USC, they get that military tuition rate at $250 per credit hour. So we're really excited about that launch, and believe there's a lot of potential there. Also, we amended our adult learner policy. So for any South Carolinians in high school that graduate and decide that they want to serve, we as the university value their service, and we want them to know they've always got a home at USC. So after 2 years of service, they can enroll and apply to USC without having to submit a SAT or ACT score. And so that's a policy change we made behind the scenes that we're really excited about. And then Joe already hit on it, and I'll let the Marine Corps comment slide, Joe. But anyways, the PTG panel coming up this Thursday, we're really excited to be a partner for that event. We know it'll be a great discussion. And just to reemphasize, you can either come in person at the Alumni Center at 6 p.m. Or you can attend and watch virtually. It'll be streamed online, so you can attend that way as well. So, and last but certainly not least, I know some of you have certainly seen the news regarding President Caslen's departure within the last couple of weeks, and it's certainly unfortunate set of events. But what I want to emphasize is our commitment to continuing to enhance, our overall programmatic support for our veteran military community will not be altered in any way. So I think here in the next, the rest of the calendar year, you'll continue to see us announce new partnerships, new programs, new initiatives committed to serving our vets and our military. So thank you, Carl.
Hey, thanks, Jared. Appreciate everything you're doing. All right. Y'all, many of y'all know I like to run a tight ship, and it's 3 o'clock. We've been here an hour, so we're going to wrap this up. But thanks for your patience. Lots of good things going on. I do want to thank our sponsors, Bank of America and Blue Cross, Columbia Metropolitan Magazine, Sign It Quick, and Sun Printing, many of those who support veterans and the military around this community. So thanks for that. Also, remember, we're going to send out some meeting notes later on today. So we'll add some announcements that I probably missed, or Susan will add those. And last but not least, remember those that gave the ultimate sacrifice this Monday for Memorial Day. So with that, we're signing off. Really appreciate y'all being with us. Panelists, thank you very much. Till we see you again. Thanks so much.